WAKR. It's time now to go to film school. Let's bring in our good friend, Joe Fortunato, film study professor. We're going to go back 30 years ago with a terrific flick. Joe, I'll let you take it from there, my friend.
Good morning, Ray. Good morning, everybody. And yes, I know, Ray, you're a big James Bond fan, and
Yeah.
so am I. And today we're going back 30 years on the 30th anniversary of GoldenEye, which was released in November of 1995, directed by Martin Campbell, and starred Pierce Brosnan in his first outing as James Bond, along with Sean Bean, Famke Janssen, Judi Dench, Isabella Scoruppo, Joe Don Baker, Robbie Coltrane, Alan Cumming, a cast of thousands, as they say, to put together this world of Bond. This was the fourth highest grossing film of 1995, and it was the most successful Bond since Moonraker in 1979. So quite a ways since between that and Moonraker. This is the film that sort of revitalized the franchise after some of the weaker 80s box office and some legal limbo that kind of kept some Bond movies at bay. Like I said, it was the biggest hit, Bond hit, I should say, since Moonraker. Grossed over 300 million worldwide. And this was also the longest, at the time, the longest gap between Bond films. It was a 6-year gap between The License to Kill and this one, GoldenEye. The script was originally developed assuming that Timothy Dalton would return as James Bond. He was the previous Bond before Pierce Brosnan. And he didn't, obviously. And originally it was written to fit sort of his darker, more realistic Bond, and he ultimately stepped away, and they made it a little bit more fun for the Pierce Brosnan era. This is also the first completely original James Bond movie, meaning the characters are based on Ian Fleming, but there was no plot elements or title or anything directly taken from an Ian Fleming novel or short story. So a completely original Bond for the first time ever. It also was the first Bond made after the fall of the Soviet Union. So that kind of ended the Cold War, and the story leans into that new post-Soviet world a little bit. It's also a lot of firsts here. The only Bond where both Bond, M, and Miss Moneypenny are all recast at once. Desmond Llewellyn's Q, the gadget guy, was the only lone holdover from the classic era. All the other characters were new to the Bond franchise. It was the first Bond produced by Barbara Broccoli as the full producer and taking over from her father, Albert Broccoli. And this is the last Bond film he saw before he passed away. It's also the first Bond film to use CGI, including the famous gun barrel opening with some visual effect shots. So lots and lots of firsts here, not the least of which is Pierce Brosnan stepping into James Bond's shoes.
Joe Fortunato looking at GoldenEye, released 30 years ago next week, actually November 13th. And Joe, take us back, because obviously, money-wise, this movie was a huge success globally. But how was Pierce Brosnan taken in as James Bond?
Well, like I said, it was the fourth highest rated or ranked film of the year. Before Brosnan was locked in, sort of the usual 90s short list came through of who might take over for Bond. Some of the bigger names were Liam Neeson and Mel Gibson, Hugh Grant, who were all considered. Neeson and Gibson both turned it down, saying they didn't want to be tied into a big action franchise. For the roles of the villain, Alec Trevelyan was offered to Anthony Hopkins and Alan Rickman, both who would have been great, and they both declined as well. Some of the actresses and models who were looked at to be the Bond girls at the time were Paulina Porzakova, Elizabeth Hurley, Elle Macpherson, Angie Everhart. Courtney Cox was even in the mix to play Xena Onatopp, but her commitment to Friends kind of killed that. And as I mentioned, M is recast here. Judi Dench playing M for the first time. This is the first time M is a woman. So all of those changes were afoot for this. And Pierce Brosnan, brought a little bit more fun back to the franchise after Timothy Dalton, I think. And I think, I'm always a Connery and Moore guy, and I always will be. But I think this is I think this is Pierce Brosnan's best outing as Bond, and he really rebooted the character into the modern '90s with a new Bond, new M, new World Order, and revitalized the franchise. So I think it was a success.
Yeah, that certainly sounds like it, but I didn't realize until your explanation there. But now that I think about it, you're right. The franchise was kind of spinning a little bit with the Timothy Dalton, and Pierce Brosnan revitalized it, and of course with Daniel Craig and so on. And now we're waiting for the next one. But this is a solid movie, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, and you can kind of look at it sort of as like a bridge Bond film, kind of half classic Cold War era Bond, half slick, self-aware '90s action movie, and it proved that 007 could survive into a new era, and we've seen that happen a couple of times since with new Bonds and new imaginations or new reimagining of the character.
Yeah, terrific. Again, Joe Fortunato, film study professor. GoldenEye might be a good weekend to dig that thing out. It was released 30 years ago next week on November 13th. I'm sorry, Joe, go ahead.
I should just mention one thing because the music is always important in a Bond film. And the title song of GoldenEye was written by Bono and the Edge for Tina Turner. So all three were her neighbors, actually, in the south of France, and they played it on Turner's own piano when they were pitching it to her. The Rolling Stones were offered a chance to do the title song first, and they turned it down. So a lot of interesting facts behind the scenes.
Yeah, you're exactly right, though. I always look forward to see what artist has the Bond song, whether it be Sheena Easton in the past, Adele, Madonna has done it. So that's good stuff. Glad you dug that one up for us. Joe Fortunato, what's going on? Are you going to be out and about?
I am. Please go to my website, joefortunato.net, and check out what I'm doing in the community and into the area. And as we said in the last couple of weeks, I'll say it again today, we are going to be coming back to Jilly's Music Room live for Fortunato Film School live December 6th. We are going to be celebrating the holidays and doing a live screening of It's a Wonderful Life, one of my favorite holiday films of all time. That's going to be on December 6th. Doors open at 11 a.m. and brunch is served at Jilly's, delicious brunch. And the film will start at 11:30. That's December 6th, a Saturday. The holidays get kind of busy, so why don't you mark your calendars there now? Tickets are available now. You can go buy them, get them while they're hot, as they say. And you also get first crack and kind of reserve your space there. You can go to Jilly's Music Room website. You can go to my website, joefortunato.net, or you can go to Facebook and search for Fortunato Film School Live on the event page. But definitely we want to see as many people out there to celebrate the holidays with us and watch It's a Wonderful Film, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. I can't wait to take that in with you, Joe, because I can't wait to see your film school on it. Joe does a great job with these film schools. What he does with us on Fridays is wonderful, but it's really just scratching the surface of what he does with these film schools. So as Joe mentioned, get your tickets now. It's going to be a lot of fun there on December 6th with film school with again, Joe Fortunato. Joe, my friend, as always, thanks for the visit, the time. Appreciate it on Fridays. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, Ray. I look forward to it. See you then.
There you go. My good friend Joe Fortunato takes us to film school each and every Friday morning here on 93.5, 1590 WAKR.